बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा। अल-वाहिदुल क़हार। अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा। Thank you to Zinat and Faiza for inviting me to explain Kalam Mawla. It's truly an honor. Thank you so much. So inshallah we will be looking into Kalam Mawla. I always say that I love Kalam Mawla because the knowledge given to us by our first Asas Imam, Mawla Ali, it is amazing actually. One cannot understand it completely without thorough study of it. Kalam Mawla are actually extracted from the sermons of Mawla Ali and written in rhymes and in this language which is mix of Urdu, Gujarati, Farsi. It's a mixture of language actually. For us to read and understand the advices given to us by Mawla Ali. Kalam Mawla is full of advices. So what we are doing, we are trying to understand the advices given to us by Mawla Ali. So today in reality, I have chosen just one verse to really go into detail of it, to understand what it entails, to take just one verse and really dive into it to understand what are the different tawilat actually are hidden into just one his advice. Just one of his advice has layers of tawil. Remember, Mawla Ali is the foundation Imam whose function was to do tawilat for us. He came with Prophet Muhammad who was the Natik. And Mawla Ali is the first Imam who actually started teaching us the tawilat. So as you all know, I like to start with some zikr, some giryazari. Because I'm very weak, very poor, very feeble. I need his help to be able to talk to all of you online gathered. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ali Allah madad farma. This beautiful zikr tasbih is actually from Quran, which is also mentioned in our old Gujarati dua. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Allah is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs, and the best protector, and the best helper. Alhamdulillah. Ya Mawla Meherban, this nachis seek your help, Mawla, to deliver a session, Mawla, to all the friends online, to give the light of your true knowledge in their hearts, Mawla. Be my madadgar, Mawla. Kalam Mawla, we listened to it in Jamaat Khana. Have we truly understood it? We may like the rhyming of it, but have we really taken a step to understand what is being said in those kalam? So I have picked up one very popular verse which is Dar Bayane Dunya, the material world. दुनिया घर मातम का, दुनिया घर मातम का, जिसे देखो सो रोता है ज़ारो ज़ार. गफलत का डटा कानों से काढ़ो तो सुनो कैसी पड़ी है पुकार. काट सिर किरवत फिरे पत्थर टांके, ए दोए कैसा करते हैं शोर. बहते पानी में आवाज कैसा, उम्रो वही जाती है सो रोती है जोर. The world is place of suffering. All whom you see thus cry their eyes out. Unplug your ears from negligence. So hear where these calls come from? The sawing on the wood and the pounding of the stone, why do these two make so much noise? In the flowing waters, what is this noise? Thus, life goes by with flowing tears. This is one of the advice to us by Mawla Ali. The world is place of suffering. Which world? The world which we live on, this planet, it is full of problems. COVID, tsunami, famine, like you name it, there are problems. So, is it a news for us? No. Then why Mawla Ali is telling us? We need to think, right? Then he says, all whom you see thus cry their eyes out. Despite of all what is going on in our world, we don't see people crying all the time. We just saw each other. We're not crying. So why? Then Mawla says, unplug your ears from negligence. So here, where these calls come from? Aha. So here we probably are missing out. We need to identify the crying which is going on, where they are coming from, where these calls are coming from. Probably our ears are plugged, we can't hear it. So again, right now we see our ears are not plugged up, you are listening to me. So it is not physical noise that Mawla is talking about. If it is not a physical noise, then it is not even physical ears either that Mawla is talking about. Unplug your ears from negligence, so hear where these calls come from. Physically, our ears are not plugged. So surely this negligence is actually spiritual. So in Quran, Allah says, chapter 2, verse 171. And I have picked up two translations here for you because we are studying Quran too, along with whatever we are learning. And this is taken from online. And I just would like to draw your attention how the translator, they put their own understanding in the translation of the Quran. For them to understand, for them to make sense. Just for side knowledge. So chapter 2, Surah Baqarah, chapter Cow, verse 171 says, and the parable of those who disbelieve is as the parable of one who calls out to that which hears no more than a call and a cry, deaf, dumb, blind, so they do not understand. And surely Pictel here is saying in relation to the messenger, those who don't believe, in relation to messenger. So let's look at us, we Smileys. We believe in messengers, we believe in Imam too. Now why Mawla Ali would say that we are not listening? We go to Jamaat Khana, we listen to Ginans, Farman, Waises. What is that we are supposed to listen and we are not listening? We thought that at times all this listening to Ginan, Farmans and advices, especially advices, when we listen to all these things, we feel guilty in our heart. And then we do improve, but then again we fall back to our old patterns. So guilt is an emotion which is very temporary, very temporary. There is a saying by Mawla Ali. Mawla Ali says that you think of yourself as a small being, but the whole universe is within you. Whole universe. And there's a term, the inner universe is given this term personal world by Allama Nasiruddin Hunzai. This universe which is within us, the personal world of ours, the Alam-e-Shakhsi, the whole universe is within us. So the first we would ask, how can this whole world be within us? It is in its subtle form, in its essence, it is within us. And this subtle form, this universe, which is also called macrocosm. And the word macrocosm is English, but the Urdu of it, Persian of it is used by Pir Nasir Khusro, macrocosm. It is composed of 5 worlds. World of wakefulness, we all are awake. It is world of imagination, world of dream, world of spirituality, and world of intellect. So this personal world which is within us is made up of these 5 worlds. A moment actually creates a pure, pleasant personal world by following the conditions. Conditions which are given to us, the advices which are given to us. When we follow it, we create a pure, pleasant personal world. Now this personal world has doors through which anything and everything can enter in our being. Hearing is one sense, it is one door. This door is not only for the worldly sound or noises to enter, but also for the subtle things to enter from this door. And Mawla Ali told us, unplug your ears from negligence, so hear where these calls are coming from. So these calls are not coming from outside. These are coming from inside us, from our own personal world, our batin. Now someone will say, I don't hear any calls from inside. Is anyone calling me from inside? Surely, if we want to truly hear, truly listen, we need to be quiet. And when we think of being quiet, we think of meditation. Even during meditation, there is so much worldly thoughts. The noise of the worldly thought is so much so that we cannot concentrate. Though outside is quiet and dark. During the daytime, we've been understanding, we've been learning to quieten our mind. We do need to be doing constant zikr. Zikr has many types. Right now, we are doing ilmi zikr, ilmi ibadat. There are very many different ways of doing zikr. The most elevated zikr is the one which is done with the Girya Uzari. Quran in chapter 2 verse 186 tells us that those actually who pray that they do want to listen to the callings which are coming from our own personal world, they need to pray. And in response to those prayers, Allah says in Quran, indeed, I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. So let them respond to me and believe in me that they may be guided. So Allah says, those who call upon me, He surely listens to them. And He responds to. And His response is that He guides us. Those who calls Him, believes in Him, He guides them. So if we truly understand this verse, Mawla Ali is actually telling us to open our ears. It is batni ear, so we can listen. And through this verse, we are saying we do need to pray so our batni ears open up. Maulana Hazri Imam in his Farman, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda 1972, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. I will begin by emphasizing that everything out you see, touch, hear, and everything material will disappear and only soul will remain. Those who forget this basic fact, they are committing a very great mistake. The day you die, nothing will be left except your soul. And that is why I emphasize that you must spend some time to prepare for life hereafter. This is the meaning of Baitul Khayal. Spend some time. Is Mawla Ali saying the same thing? Remember, when we listen to these advices, the first very human reaction is to feel guilty. And I do get a lot of comments, feedback that when friends listen to these kind of lectures, they feel guilty because we find ourselves that we are not at par to where we should be when we listen to these advices. And you know what I would say to that? That is the nishani of a mu'min. That is an indication of a mu'min. Mu'min does do all the things, keeps trying to do better every day, but still feels guilty. Why? Because mu'min's desire is to do better and better. But the difference is, when we talk of worldly guilt emotion, it is very short time lasted. It is very temporary. We feel guilty, we do one thing, two things, and then forget. That's not a momin's indication. A momin is the one who feels guilty because he wants to do more. Because he or she loves his Mawla so much so that they do want to do more and more. So here, when we listen to these advices of Mawla Ali, the intention is to not feel guilty, but to find what are the gaps, where are the gaps, and work on those gaps. So here, Hazri Ma'am is telling us that we do need to spend some time to prepare for life hereafter. And that is the meaning of Baitul Khayal. So in reality, to understand this verse of Kalam Mawla, truly we are following this farman of Imam to understand how and what the advice of Mawla Ali is meaning to us. That time we are spending here is preparing ourselves for Baitul Khayal. Sense of hearing and moments. We all have learnt about Dua and Noor. It starts with Allahumma ja'alli nooran fi qalbi. O Allah, give me light in my heart. Wa nooran fi sam'i. O Allah, give me light in my ears. So after the heart comes ears. It is a very important sense for a moment to have. And we are seeking this light, Noor, in our ears. Imam Jafar Sadiq has told us to say this dua after ibadat. Because during ibadat, we are sitting on our Baitul Khayal, doing the ibadat on Isme Azam, and immediately after that, we are supposed to say, according to Farman of Imam Jafar Sadiq, this dua, that we are seeking light not only in heart, but on all the directions, 16 directions. We are seeking the light of our Mawla. And ears are on number 2. So Momin is Salik. When I say Momin is Salik, the one who travels on the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim, the one who is not standing on Sirat al-Mustaqim. Salik means walking, is traveling. Momin is Salik is the one who walks on the spiritual journey. He or she will have these experiences, let's say ringing in ears, or different experiences of listening while doing ibadat. And that is an indication that ears are opening up. Sense of hearing for Momin. Sadgur kahre jya ninda thai dunya tane, tya nahi amaro tham. Jya ninda thai dunya tane, tya nahi amaro tham. Tya besi je koi samre, te jano shaitan nu kamre. Pir says, where the slenderest talk of this world is taking place, that's not our abode. That's not where we should be present. Whoever sits there, surely, listening to that kind of talk, they're working on the behalf of the devil. There's another Ginan I recall, Ninda thai tyanthi uthine jaiye. So Momin actually protects this sense, this door, from not listening to any judgment, any unnecessary opinions, or slanderous talk about anybody else. In that relation, there's a beautiful verse in Quran about Bibi Maryam, Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam, the mother of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. 21 verse 91. It says, and she who guarded her chastity, so we breathed into her of our inspiration and made her and her son a sign for the nation. She who guarded her chastity, she actually protected her ears from listening to any negative, any bad thing. She protected her ears so much so that it is mentioned in Quran. And because of her guarding, keeping herself pure, we breathed. Allah says that we breathed into her of our inspiration and made her and her son a sign for the nation. And we do know now what an elevated big sign she herself is, and surely Jesus himself too. But the criteria which is given, that she protected her ears. When Mawla Ali is telling us to unplug our ears, we do need to plug our ears in this worldly life from all the negativity to be able to unplug it at a Batni level. And this is the reward. So, for seekers who protect their ears, they can be blessed with very elevated reward. Miracles can happen for them. And then the Ta'wil of sense of hearing, chapter 23, verse 78. It says, "It is He who has created for you hearing, sight, feeling, and understanding. Little thanks you give." Because we don't realize the importance of these senses, we are not grateful the way we should be. It's not that we are not, but the way we should be. Because we do not know the extent of these senses' abilities. The Batni senses, hidden behind the physical senses. When we don't know, we are not grateful because we have not tasted those rewards. We have not explored in that area. The first level of Ta'wil, which is given in the book Spring of Knowledge, it says, hearing here, which has been given to us, the Ta'wil of it is Natik. So the sense of hearing we all have, Ta'wil of it is Natik. Sight is at the rank of Asas. And feeling is actually Imam. Hearing, sight, feeling. Then comes the understanding. For us to understand what does this Batni ears mean, we do need to have hearing, sight, and feeling. And today we are only talking about this one sense, one door, hearing. Another verse, which is 32/9, it says about Adam. "Then he fashioned him and breathed into him of his spirit, and appointed for you hearing and sight and hearts. Small thanks you give." For Adam also, when the Ism-e-Azam was given, at that time, there was appointment for him of hearing, sight and hearts, Natik, Assas and Imam. Allah's habit never changes. If here friends have Ism-e-Azam, do know that Allah's habit does not change. As soon as we get that Ism-e-Azam, we have this appointment for us of Natik, Assas and Imam. Where? In our batin. Now we also know that these three ranks are from Hudud-e-Din. So now we understand the meaning, the Ta'wil of this verse. Of course, little thanks we give, because why? We don't even understand what Allah is saying to us. Allegorical language. Now let us look at the verse again. Mawla Ali says, "The world is place of suffering. All whom you see thus cry their eyes out. Unplug your ears from negligence." So here, where these calls come from? Where these calls are coming from? From Hudud-e-Din. Where are they? Within our personal world. How do we know that? Our peers have taught us, Atma Ram Tame Bada Ginani. The Ginan is within us because these Hudud-e-Din are within our beings. We don't have to go out. Yes, we have to work hard, meet those conditions to be able to open up our senses. So unplugging ears means that if we truly want to know the reality, recognize the Hudud-e-Din. Recognize the Hudud-e-Din. Now, due to the time of Qiyamah, all the hududs are in batin. There is no physical hudud as per se. It is only hazrima. But these all hads are present in every personal world, appointed by Allah Himself. Those who invoke surely will get the reply. Remember that verse we studied? Indeed, I am near. If you invoke, you will listen to it. You will hear those sounds. So in order for us to recognize the batin, we will have to know first Hudud-e-Din, the Natik. And for us, that Natik is, in near past is Prophet Muhammad. But then there are Natikans. But Prophet Muhammad is the who brought the Tanzilat in Quran. And then we get to understand the tawilat, which is taught to us by Asas Imam, Maulana Ali, and whose kalam we are studying right now. The only way we can get to recognize the Imam of the time through hudud. Natik's tanzilat, Asas tawilat, we get to feel the love of Imam in our heart. We understand how is he Imam of the time. We recognize him through the knowledge given to us by the Natik and the Asas. Physical is the door to batin. So we do need to understand all the knowledge, true knowledge given to us physically to help us open the door to batin. Physically reading Tanzil, deeply understanding the Tawilat will lead us to understand our batin. In the story of Adam, we all know he was a mustajib. He was not from the Nurani family or Ahle Bayt. He was a simple man, mustajib. But when he got the Isme Azam, he had this hudud-e-deen appointed within his being. So when we listen to the stories of our prophets, all those stories are actually teaching for us to walk on their paths. So in the story of Adam, we hear that he was given Isme Azam. What he did? Honest ibadat. He met all the criteria. The way ibadat should be done. The way we have hudud-e-deen in our beings, he had it too. But he was able to open up his senses and listen to those hududs. In other words, we are saying that in his batin, Ruhe Natika was appointed. Ruhe Natika, the soul of the Natik, that is the hudud. So do we not have that soul within us? We do. So it is Natik who acts as the spiritual hearing for the people of batin, not Ahle Zahir. Not those who just believe in Zahir, only for people of Batin. So the Tawil of this verse is the spiritual ears being the Ruhe Natika, helping Momin and Salik to get to where the destination is. Very interestingly, in Diamond Jubilee, Imam has given us Isme Azam. When the Isme Azam was given, the Batini Madad was also given. It's happened with all individuals who have Isme Azam. Not for some less and others more. It's not like that. Everybody has this help available in their batin. But one has to activate it. Why are we using this word of activation? We need this physical vocabulary to understand how to work and get to our batin. So the activation means fulfillment of the criteria. If one wakes up for bandagi, recites his Isme Azam, but forgets about the faith in 23 hours, they are not meeting the condition. Maulana Hazri Imam's Farman, Golden Jubilee Darbar, Madagascar, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In your lives, there is deen and dunya. There is faith and world. The nature of Islam has the faith and life. Faith and world are intimately connected, and you do not forsake one for the other. Your faith, keep your faith present in your heart all the time, in the way you live. Because you cannot enter into faith and exit from faith. Okay, I'll be very good because I'm entering into Jamaat Khana. As soon as you're out, you forget. That hat is removed. It cannot happen like that. That is not tolerated. Faith is part of everyday life. Now, another farman of Mawla in his 48th Joma, Dar es Salaam, 27th September 1899. Mawla says, you take notice of my farman. 1,000 interpretation contained in my farman. There are 1,000 interpretation of my farman. But it is not necessary for me to unfold explicitly all of them at present. It is not necessary for me to unfold explicitly all of them at present. This is Mawla saying to Jamaat. Why? If there are 1,000 meaning, Mawla, why do you not want to teach us? Why do you not want to give us? Because we work like entering and exiting. We have not worked all the time, the 23 hours. We focus on 24th, but we forget 23 hours. And that's why batin is kept hidden to us. The tawilat is kept hidden to us. Why? Because we will not understand it. We'll get more confused. We have to be able to work in physical lives through zikr ibadat, ilmu amal, with giryazari to be able to absorb the higher tawilat. Otherwise, this is Imam's farman. Clearly, tawilat cannot be told. People ask questions, but how do you answer? You can't. It cannot be unfold explicitly to all of them at present. Every individual has access to higher tawilat. Every individual. Mawla is merciful. It's not that he loves one more and other less. It cannot be like that. We all are very equal in Imam's eyes. But why? An example of Adam, we are able to see why. He was mustajib just like us. It truly depends on the moments themselves, at what level they are on the journey of their spiritual jihad. Not physical jihad, but jihad akbar, the spiritual jihad. The jihad with our own carnal soul, nafs-e ammara. To get to mutu kabla antamutu. To have these interpretations to be unfolded for us. The longer we take time, the longer it will take. And if we were to get to the higher understanding, it will only confuse us. It will not help us because spiritually we are not ready for those tawilat. Now let's talk about one of the higher tawil for the sense of hearing. There is a hadith by Prophet Muhammad. He says, he who dies, his resurrection takes place. Man mata faqat qamat qiyamatuhu. He who dies, his resurrection takes place. What death are we talking about? Physical death? No. Mutu kabla anta mutu. The one who dies while living, his or her resurrection will happen there and there. And I have taken this paragraph straight from the book of Spring of Knowledge. It says, regarding such a resurrection which is related to spirituality and recognition, if we observe people, we will come to know that they are drunk with their thoughts and concepts. That is, they are utterly unaware of what is happening in their personal world. Just like a drunkard who loses his intellect and becomes unaware of religion and the world. But in reality, this is not a positive intoxication. Rather, it is the severity of divine punishment. Severity of divine punishment. That is the stupefaction caused by intellectual punishment. Very powerful, strong words, I would say. Our lives are physical, spiritual, intellectual. We all know about physical. We're talking about spiritual, but the life doesn't end there. There's intellectual life too. And one leads to other. We work all of these lives together. It's not that one completes, then another starts. No. We all work on it together. But those who are blind, deaf, dumb, that is the stupefaction caused by intellectual punishment. Mawla Sultan Muhammad Shah's farman, beautiful farman, Gwadar, 10th December 1894. Mawla talks about 4 classes of men in the world. The first class are those who love Mawla and do not love the world. Mawla says their hearts are focused at me and I remember them all the times. All the times. They are with me here and here in the hereafter. Now tell me this word, all the times. What does that mean? Imam is with every smiley moment. Mawla has said this. We all know that. But then why Mawla has given these 4 categories? That means there is a difference. This group of people about whom Mawla says they love Mawla and Mawla loves them. And then Mawla says, not that they are with Mawla, Mawla says, I am with them all the time. Spiritually, they are connected, talking to each other. Why? They have walked on the path, elevating themselves to the ladder of the Hudud-e-Deen. And now they are all the time with Mawla. The second class is, Mawla says, who love me and also love the world. Now they are trying to walk on both the worlds, keeping one foot here and there. Don't want to lose this and don't want to miss this too. Listen to Mawla's prayers. Mawla says, I pray for them that their love upon the world may be decreased and enhance their love with me. That's Mawla's prayer. Mawla wants us to come out of this worldly desire, worldly life, and to be with him, to love him. And the third class is who do not love me but love the world. They are very worldly people. Mawla says they don't distress me. I don't care for them. I don't worry about them. And the fourth is worse than those. They are the ones who actually distress Mawla, give taklif to Mawla. And Mawla prays, oh God, make me away from them. These are the four classes of men. So if one asks that we are talking about this unplugging of our ears from negligence so we can hear these calls where they are coming from. And Mawla Ali says the sawing on the wood, pounding of the stone, where these noises are coming from. In the flowing waters there is noise, where these noises are. So Imam is talking about unplugging the ears, loving our Mawla more, coming to from the second class, third class to the first class of level. First level Mawla says, they are the ones who love Mawla, and Mawla says, I am with them all the times. So those of us who think that Mawla is with us and we are living a worldly life, trying to keep our foot in both the worlds, remember that with those people, Mawla says that I'm praying for them that they would love me more. But it is the first group of people, Mawla says, I am with them all the times. So yes, generally when we listen to farmans, Mawla give us du'ashis, but remember, all the du'as are there, but it has to be activated. Du'as are potential. They are not actual. We actualize it. And these are the four categories. When Mawla gave this farman, Jamaat is in front of him and Mawla is talking about it. So he's not talking about any Sunni or any Christian. He's talking about Jamaat. So these are advices of Mawla. Unplug your ears from negligence. Not physical ears, but the spiritual ears. Another beautiful farman of Bombay, 8th September 1885. Mawla says, nothing is accepted without the love and intention for the present Imam, which is also explained in the Quran and Hadith. No ibadat bandagi is accepted without the love and deep regard for the Prophet and the descendant, the heir of the Prophet. So if we want to love Imam and have the right intention, we will have to study Quran and Hadith. Then only ibadat and bandagi will be accepted, because we need to understand what is explained there. We thought love is just like a physical love, intention is just physical intention, ears are just physical ears. There are layers of meaning in it. And the only way we can get to those meanings if we were to study these books. Those who have deep regard for the Prophet and the descendants and the heir of the Prophet. Surely we love our Mawla. We are smileys. But it is not enough to be smiley and love Mawla, but to bring into action too. And Mawla lists here. Mawla says, when the believer follows these points, then his ibadat, etc. are accepted. Friendship with present Imam. I knew my Mawla is my master. When did I become friend of Mawla? And friendship means what? Friendship is like give and take. Be there for each other. Am I there for my Mawla? Mawla is there for me, but am I there when I needed to be there to meet the conditions? And the list is on. Daily prayers, deeds, the song, we have this for access to this farman, so we know it all. We know the conditions. It's not that we do not know. So again, we come back to our part we were studying. दुनिया घर मातम का जिसे देखो सो रोता है ज़ारो ज़ार, गफलत का डटा कानों से काढ़ो तो सुनो कैसी पड़ी है पुकार, काट सिर करवत फिरे पत्थर टाके एदोए कैसा करते हैं शोर, बहते पानी में आवाज कैसा, उम्रो वही जाती है सो रोती है जोर. We have just studied this one part. In the flowing waters, what is this noise? Thus life goes by with flowing tears. These tears, when Mawla is talking about these tears, what are these tears for? Regret? Guilt? Followed by actions? Or temporary guilt? So I hope that we have realized that when we are studying or reading Kalam Mawla, how in depth these Kalams are full of, rich of tawilat and knowledge. But we do need supportive readings to understand. If we don't, then we miss out. We were thinking that it was physical noise. We don't need to we are listening to wise, we are listening to Gyanan, we are being spiritual, we are being good moment. But in reality, that's also superficial. We are not going into batin. Let's briefly review the second verse too. भूला वे जे कोई दुनिया रीझा, जीव प्यासा देखे वेला धूप, के जंगल सारा भरा है पानी, ए तो धूल दिसे है पानी रूप, दुनिया सब धूल है, दुनिया मालो गाड़ो वह भी है धूल, इस धूल को तू सोना रूपा माणिक देखे, ए तुम्हारे देखने में पड़ी है भूल. Misled is the one who rejoices in the world, as the thirsty one sees in the blazing sun that the whole jungle is filled with water. However, what he sees is dust in the form of water. The whole world is dust, bury worldly goods. They too are dust. In this dust you see gold, silver, and precious gems. It is your sight that is faulty. Let's look at these two farman. Mawla is talking about rejoicing in the world. Misled is the one who is rejoicing in the world. Mawla Sultan Muhammad Shah on 21st October 1903 says in his farman, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Why do you burst into laughter? You should mourn in your heart till you are in the world. When we read this farman, it sounds like Mawla does not want us to be happy. We should be crying all the time. Whereas Hazrat Imam on 13th July 2008 says in his farman, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This simply comes back to the fact that Islam is also faith of happiness. Oh, we can laugh. And I like to laugh with my Jamaat. Do we see contradiction in this farman? Now, faith of Islam, did it started with Hazrat Imam, not in the time of Sultan Muhammad Shah? That tells us when we read these farmans critically, we are not understanding these farman. They both mean the same thing. They both mean the same thing. But have we ever taken time out to truly reflect and understand what is rejoicing truly is? So we lack knowledge. We do lack knowledge. Alhamdulillah, we are working on this journey. We are working hard. Shukr alhamdulillah. But if we were to take the Kalam Mawla, it does need a lot of attention, a lot of studying to understand what Mawla is actually telling us. Now, just to increase your curiosity, I'm going to read just these Kalam Mawla verses, and Faiza is going to help me out reading the translation. So you know how beautiful, full of advices these verses are. So I'm going to read part 133. पानी की प्यास से माल की प्यास जानो होवे सखत. पानी की प्यास से माल की प्यास जानो होवे सखत. माल की प्यास घड़ी एक न बुझे, पानी की प्यास होवे कोई वक्त. जिसको प्यास माल की होवे, उन्हें प्यास में खोई सारी उम्र। कभी नहीं पेट उसका भरे, जो सब माल पावे, जीता है दुनिया भीतर।
I'll go ahead and read the translation. Compared to thirst for water, know that thirst for possessions is more harmful. Thirst for possessions is not quenched, even for an instant. Thirst for water we sometimes have, but the one whose thirst is for possessions wastes his whole life in his thirst. Never is his stomach full, even if he obtains all the goods in the world.
Verse 137, बिगड़ा सौदा खराब हुआ कि जेने बेचा आपका दीन, कि दीन के 100 नाणे देकर झूठी दुनिया मीता लीन। ऐसा काम वे कोई करे जिसके सीने में पड़ा अंधार, कि सोना रूपा बेचकर मोल लिया भंगार।
Translation: Unfruitful and futile is the deal in which a person sells off his religion. He gives away gold of religion and obtains the false world, which is as good as dust. Such are the works done by those whose bosoms or hearts have been darkened. For they have sold gold and silver and have bought futile objects.
Verse 138, दुनिया बेच ये फानी है और मोल ले आकिबत काम। दुनिया तेरे संग न रहे सी, खूब आकिबत मकाम। दुनिया दिन चार है, चे तू छोड़ जाए सी। ए बेच आकिबत बसाई ले, वे तुझ काम आए सी।
Translation: Sell the world, it is perishable, and buy the dwelling of the hereafter. The world will not remain with you, and all worthwhile is in the abode of hereafter. The world lasts 4 days. Take heed, you will leave it. Sell it and dwell in the awareness of the hereafter. This will be useful to you.
Verse 140, दुनिया की नेमतों से खूब सवाब आकिबत केरा। आकिबत सदा बाकी रहे सी, दुनिया फना होवे सवेरा। जो तुझे खुदा ने अक्ल दिया, तो दुनिया को ना कर प्यार, कि जो ठाम छोड़ना वहां घर करे, ऐसा काम करे गेमार।
Translation: Worldly boons are surpassed by the benefits of the hereafter. The hereafter will remain forever, whereas the world will perish quickly. If God has given you intelligence, do not love the world. For to make a dwelling in a place that you must leave eventually is to behave like a fool.
Verse 142, जिन्हें आप माल खजाना किया और अपनी दौलत आपे नहीं चाखी, ए हाथ घसंता आप उठ जावे, जीव मद न खाया माखी। हाथ घसंती देखो माखी, चेतो भाई दुनिया संग न आवे। त्यों आकिबत कमाई क्यों नहीं करता, मूर्ख आप जन्म तू क्यों गुमावे।
Translation: The ones who have amassed their wealth have not tasted good use of it, or spent it for good cause or for innocent pleasures, will rub their hands in regret, just like honey not consumed by bees. Look at the bees rubbing their hands constantly. Take heed, brothers. The world will not accompany you. Therefore, why don't you engage in activities that will yield benefits for the hereafter? O foolish ones, why do you waste your life?
Verse 143, कभी खुशी नहीं रहती उसको जिस दिल भरा है दुनिया गम। दुनिया गम से वे अंधा होवे, पल पल अतका होवे न होवे कम। दुनिया गम से दिल खाली राखो, घटाओ मोहब्बत दुनिया संगात। जिस दिल मोहब्बत दुनिया भरी, उसके हाथ से दीन सही जात।
Translation: Never is happiness present in those whose hearts are filled with the love for the world. Through love for the world, one becomes blind, and the blindness gradually increases and does not become less. Empty your hearts from the love of the world, and reduce the love of companionship of the world. The ones whose hearts are filled with the love for the world, the religion will slip away from their hands for certain.
147 आदमी केरा पेट दुश्मन है, देखो भाई चेत सवेरा। पेट लालच कारण आदमी बुरा काम करे बुहितरा। इस दुनिया में दुश्मनी काम आदमी को है पेट करावे। पेट कारणे आकेबत खूबी बंदे के हाथ से सही जावे।
Translation: A man's stomach is his enemy. Observe this and take heed quickly. Because of the temptation of the stomach, he does a great deal of evil work. The stomach makes a man do evil work in this world. For the sake of the stomach, all the valuable mysteries of the hereafter slip away from the creature.
So stomach here is physical life, not stomach. 150 खुशी ने आराम चाहो तो आराम वहाँ जहाँ नहीं डर। दुनिया में तो बहुत कसाला, आराम कहाँ है इस दुनिया भीतर। एक दिन खुशी से ढोल बजाया, दूजे दिन कोई मुआ हुआ गम। भली खुशहाली आकेबत केरी, दिन दिन अद की होएसी न होएसी कम।
If you want happiness and rest, then rest exists where there is no fear. In this world we have great tribulations. How can there be rest in this world? One day in joy we play the drum, another day someone dies. There is sorrow. Better happiness is that of the hereafter. Day after day it increases and does not wane.
Verse 156 जो काम करो सो विचारो कि ये काम मैं निभाऊंगा किस रीत, कि इस काम थी मैं क्या गुण पाऊंगा, जिस ऊपर मैंने बांधी है प्रीत। तो किसी काम में खता ना खावे, वही करे जिसमें होवे गुण। तो कुछ गुण नहीं इस दुनिया धंधे, साची बात कहूं भाई तू सुन।
Translation: If you engage in any worldly activity, think, in what manner can I rely upon it? What good will I achieve from this activity to which I am attached in love? The work that will not have any losses, or the work which is profitable, is to be undertaken. If that is the case, then there is no real and enduring profit in worldly work. This is the truth which I tell you, brother. Listen.
Verse 159 गुमराह हुआ वे जिन्हें दीन थी दुनिया को अधका चाहिया, कि दुनिया काम करते जिन्हें दीन का सो काम गुमाया। पहला तुझे दुनिया सिरजिया, कि आकेबत कारण करे कमाई। तो वे सही गुमराह हुआ जिन्हें दुनिया कारण आकेबत गमाई।
Translation: The misguided are the ones who have loved the world more than religion. For while doing worldly work, they have lost the work of religion. At first, the world was created for you so that you work towards the hereafter. So those are truly misguided, who for the sake of the world have lost the hereafter.
And then last verse 160 गुमराह को गुमराही में छोड़ो, उसका नहीं कुछ इलाज। जिसको खुदा ने गुमराह किया, वे राह न पावे बाज। आँखां अंधी इलाज करे तो चंगी होवे जान, और जिसका सीना अंधा इलाज नहीं, जो फिर कर आवे लुकमान।
Translation: Leave alone those who are misguided in their misguidedness. There is no cure for them. The ones whom God has made misguided will not attain the right path. The blindness of the eyes can be cured, and health is restored. But for the one whose bosom or heart is blind, there is no cure, even if the greatest physician, Luqman, returns.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So I will end here. And if friends have any questions,